They say the greatest act of love is laying down one's life for another. But what if love demanded something even greater, your pride, your comfort, and your entire way of life? In the village of Abenaase, nestled between the lush golden hills of Ghana, the story of Kwesi Amankwa and Adjoa Nyamekye was passed down through generations. It was not just a love story, it was a tale of transformation, sacrifice, and unwavering faith that touched the hearts of all who heard it. It all began on a night when the heavens themselves seemed to weep. Thunder rolled across the skies like the drums of war, lightning cracked open the dark heavens, and the winds howled like a lamenting widow. In the midst of this tempest, Kwesi Amankwa, a man known for his pride and strength, was shaken awake by a dream that would change the course of his life forever. A voice as deep and resonant as the earth itself called out to him, "To love her, you must lose yourself." He sat up in his bed, drenched in sweat, the words echoing in his mind. He did not yet know what they meant, but something told him that his life was about to take a turn he could never have imagined. Kwesi Amankwa was the pride of Abenaase, and rightly so. His farm was the largest in the village, yielding bountiful harvest of yams, cassava, and plantains year after year. His wealth was unmatched, his granaries full, and his strength unrivaled. Women admired him, men envied him, and the elders often spoke of him as a model of success. Yet beneath his outward achievements was a man who relied solely on his own abilities, a man who believed his wealth and power were the fruit of his labor alone. Adjoa Nyamekye, on the other hand, was the opposite of Kwesi in every way. The daughter of the village herbalist, she had little in the way of material wealth, but her faith in God and her wisdom were treasures far greater than gold. She was known for her radiant beauty, skin like polished ebony, eyes that sparkled with life, and a voice that could calm even the fiercest storms. But what truly set her apart was her unwavering devotion to God. She often spoke of love as a reflection of divine sacrifice, declaring, "A man who loves me must first love God more." Kwesi first saw Adjoa at the village stream, where the women gathered to fetch water. Her laughter, soft and musical, carried over the gurgling water, and it pierced through Kwesi like an arrow. He watched her, captivated by her grace and simplicity, and from that moment, he decided she must become his wife. Yet, when he approached her, his charm and confidence faltered. She smiled politely, murmured a soft "good evening," and walked away, leaving Kwesi standing there like a boy caught in the rain. Determined to win her, Kwesi began his courtship. He brought her gifts, baskets overflowing with ripe yams, boats of Kent cloth woven in the richest patterns, and necklaces of glimmering beads. But every gift he left at her doorstep was returned. One day, Adjoa confronted him gently. "Kwesi," she said, her voice steady but kind, "a man's love is not measured by what he gives but by how he lives. Gifts are fleeting, but a heart anchored in God's love is eternal." Her words struck Kwesi deeply, not just because they rejected his advances but because they exposed a part of himself he had never examined. Kwesi, a man who had always been in control, found himself at a loss. How could he win the heart of a woman who seemed to care nothing for his wealth or status? He began to observe Adjoa from afar, trying to understand what made her so different. Kwesi noticed how Adjoa cared for the sick, offering herbs and prayers with equal fervor. He saw her kneeling in the village chapel, her lips moving in silent prayer, her face aglow with a peace he had never known. One evening, unable to bear his frustration, he confronted her. "Adjoa," he said, his voice heavy with emotion, "what do you want from me? I can give you anything, land, cattle, gold. Just tell me what you desire, and it shall be yours." Adjoa looked at him, her gaze steady and full of compassion. "Kwesi," she said, "the love I seek cannot be bought. It is a love that reflects God's own, a love that is patient, kind, selfless, and rooted in faith. If you cannot offer that, then you cannot offer me anything at all." Her words stung more than any insult could. For the first time, Kwesi began to question his understanding of love. Was it truly about giving material things, or was there something deeper, something he had yet to discover? That night, as he lay on his bed staring at the thatched roof of his hut, he felt a heaviness in his chest that no amount of wealth could lift. Then came the dream. In it, Kwesi stood at the edge of a cliff, the ground beneath his feet crumbling with every step. Below him was a chasm so deep that he could not see its bottom, and above him loomed a mountain shrouded in mist. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed around him, "To love her, you must lose yourself." He woke up gasping for air, his heart pounding. He had never believed in dreams, dismissing them as foolish tales, but this one felt different. It lingered in his mind, haunting him throughout the day. The following morning, disaster struck. A strange disease swept through Abenaase, withering crops in the fields and leaving children feverish and weak. The village elders, desperate for answers, declared it a curse from the gods and demanded sacrifices to appease them. Fear and panic gripped the village, and neighbors turned on one another, accusing each other of bringing the plague. Adjoa, however, stood firm in her faith. "This is not the work of the gods," she said boldly. "It is a test of our faith. Let us turn to the one true God, and He will deliver us." Her words brought hope to some, but many mocked her, calling her a fool for rejecting the ways of their ancestors. Kwesi, watching from the sidelines, felt a stirring in his heart that he could not ignore. Could Adjoa's faith truly be the answer to the village's suffering? Desperate and unsure, Kwesi did something he had never done before. He prayed. Kneeling in the dirt of his fields, he lifted his hands to the sky and whispered, "God, if you are real, if you are the God Adjoa serves, show me what to do. I cannot do this alone." That night, Kwesi had another dream. This time, he was climbing a steep mountain, carrying a heavy sack on his back. The weight of it pressed him down, making each step an agonizing struggle. But at the top of the mountain stood Adjoa, her face radiant, her arms outstretched. The same voice from before spoke again, "Love requires sacrifice." When he woke up, Kwesi knew what he had to do, though the thought of it terrified him. The next day, Kwesi gathered the elders and the villagers in the town square. "This disease is not a curse from the gods," he declared. "It is a test of our hearts. We have been selfish, clinging to our wealth and pride. It is time to change." With that, he did the unthinkable. He announced that he was selling his prized farmland, the very land that had made him rich, to buy medicine for the sick and food for the starving. The villagers were stunned. Some called him a fool, while others wept at his generosity. But Kwesi did not care about their opinions. For the first time in his life, he felt a sense of peace that surpassed understanding. Through his sacrifice, Kwesi's heart began to change. He no longer cared about wealth or status. He found joy in serving others. Adjoa watched in awe as the man she once dismissed as arrogant and self-centered became a beacon of hope and love for the entire village. Kwesi and Adjoa worked together to care for the sick, distribute food, and lead the villagers in prayer. Slowly but surely, the village began to heal. The crops returned to life, the children grew strong again, and the bonds of community were restored. One evening, as they walked together beneath the stars, Adjoa turned to Kwesi and said, "Now I see the man I prayed for, not perfect, but willing to let God lead." Tears filled Kwesi's eyes as he realized that in losing himself, he had found something far greater, a love that reflected the heart of God. Their wedding was a simple yet joyous celebration, attended by the entire village. Their union became a symbol of hope, faith, and the transformative power of love. Under their leadership, Abenaase flourished, not just in material wealth but in spirit. Love is not about what we gain but what we give. True love mirrors Christ's sacrifice, selfless, patient, and rooted in faith. It is not adorned by material possessions or fueled by fleeting emotions. Instead, it grows through service, humility, and an abiding trust in God. Kwesi's journey proved that love isn't about conquering another's heart but surrendering your own to something greater. From that day forward, the village of Abenaase changed. The story of Kwesi and Adjoa became more than just a tale of love, it became a teaching for generations. Elders would gather children under the baobab tree and recount the story, their voices carrying the weight of the lessons hidden within. "Let the love of Christ guide your heart," they would say, "for it is the foundation upon which true relationships are built." Adjoa and Kwesi's marriage was a living testimony of this truth. Their home became a refuge for the brokenhearted, the sick, and the lost. Together, they built a chapel at the heart of the village, where anyone could come to pray and find solace. Kwesi often stood at the altar, sharing his testimony of how God had stripped away his pride and taught him the true meaning of love. Adjoa would kneel beside the villagers, praying fervently for their needs, her heart as full of compassion as ever. Years passed, and their love grew deeper, their bond stronger. They faced challenges, droughts, sickness, and moments of doubt, but they faced them together, always leaning on God for strength. Their lives were not free of hardship, but they were rich in purpose and joy. If you've watched up to this point, kindly take a moment to subscribe, like and share to inspire and bless someone. As they grew older, Adjoa and Kwesi became the spiritual leaders of Abenaase. Their faith inspired others to live selflessly, and the village thrived under their guidance. People traveled from far and wide to hear their story, and many left transformed by the example they set. Their children carried on their legacy, spreading the message of faith, love, and service to neighboring villages. The chapel they built became a center for worship and a symbol of hope, its walls filled with the prayers of those who had experienced God's grace. Even after their passing, the story of Kwesi and Adjoa remained alive in the hearts of the villagers. It was said that on quiet nights, when the wind rustled through the trees, you could still hear the faint echoes of their laughter and the prayers they once lifted to the heavens. Love, in its truest form, requires us to let go of ourselves. It demands humility, sacrifice, and an unwavering commitment to serve others. Kwesi's transformation taught that no heart is too proud to be softened by God, and Adjoa's faith proved that a life rooted in God's love can inspire miracles. Someone needs this. Kindly share and don't forget to subscribe to be part of this community. Their story reminds us that when a man truly loves a woman, his love must reflect God's love, selfless, enduring, and full of grace. And when a woman truly loves a man, her faith and patience can become the foundation upon which he rebuilds himself. Together, such love becomes a force powerful enough to heal not just two hearts, but entire communities. And so, the villagers of Abenaase, and those who came after them, held on to the tale of Kwesi and Adjoa, a story that began with pride and rejection, but ended with love and redemption. It was a story that taught them all to live not for themselves, but for God and one another. For when a man loves a woman, and that love is rooted in faith, it can move mountains, heal wounds, and bring heaven a little closer to earth. Love as a form of sacrifice. John 15 verse 13, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Kwesi's transformation shows that true love requires humility, selflessness, and a willingness to sacrifice personal desires for the good of others. 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4-7, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. This passage defines the selfless and enduring love Adjoa sought in Kwesi. 2. Faith over tradition. Hebrews 11 verse 1, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Adjoa's unwavering faith in God's deliverance challenges the traditional beliefs of the village and demonstrates the power of faith in overcoming adversity. Acts 5 verse 29, Peter and the other apostles replied, we must obey God rather than human beings. Adjoa's courage in rejecting traditional practices and trusting God mirrors this declaration. 3. Redemption and transformation. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here. Kwesi's journey highlights the possibility of change when one surrenders pride and opens their hearts to God's guidance. Ezekiel 36 verse 26, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you, I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. This describes Kwesi's spiritual transformation, reflecting his renewal into a selfless and faith-led man. 4. Community and service. Philippians 2 verses 3-4, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest but each of you to the interest of the others. The story emphasizes the importance of using one's blessings to uplift others, as seen in Kwesi's decision to sell his farm to save the village. Matthew 25 verses 35-40, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat, I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Kwesi and Adjoa's acts of service to their village reflect Christ's call to serve others. 5. The power of example. Matthew 5 verse 16, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. 1 Timothy 4 verse 12, set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Adjoa's life of integrity and faith inspires not only Kwesi but the entire village to seek a deeper understanding of love and purpose. Ephesians 5 verse 2, walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. Kwesi's love that mirrors Christ's sacrifice transforms lives and communities. May this story renew our minds. Like and share to bless someone, and don't forget to subscribe for more contents like this.